Hi, I'm Chas, and you're watching Chas's Crazy Creations. Today we're going to cover how to paint and distress mason jars. To start this project, you're going to need a mason jar, recycled jar, or any jar of your choice. I'm going to take the top off, and I'm going to discard the lid because I will not need it for this project. I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to focus just on the jar first. Next, we're going to clean the jars, and this is a huge step. So you can wash them first, which I recommend, and then after that, you want to use an alcohol prep pad or just rubbing alcohol with a cotton ball to clean your jar. This is going to remove any fingerprints that are left on it, any dirt, oil, debris, anything that might stop your paint from sticking to the jar. So you definitely want to clean the entire jar, everywhere that you're going to paint, with an alcohol prep pad, and then let it dry completely before you move on to the next step. I've protected my workspace with some wax paper. There's a lot of options for protecting your surface, and I'm going to be using Folk Art Home Decor chalk paint in white. Now, I like to work with a damp paintbrush, but it's up to you what you want to do. And you're just going to make nice strokes, get in the creases. But as you can see here, the strokes are showing up, so it's going to matter. So it's important that you get the paint on, but give it nice long strokes from the top to the bottom so you get a nice even distribution of the paint. So I'm going to start with one coat of paint, and you can use a variety of paints. The important thing is to look at the back of the container and make sure that it's safe for glass. If you pick the wrong paint, what will happen is you'll paint and do all this work, and then it'll just peel right off or slough right off. So you definitely don't want to do all this work and then have that happen. So make sure to check the paint you're choosing, and then make sure to select paint that is safe for glass or good for glass surfaces. So I'm going to go ahead and paint one coat on this jar, and I'm actually doing several jars. So I'll go ahead and paint one coat on, and then according to my instructions on this paint, you need to let it set for 1 hour before adding a second coat. Now you can easily start with one coat of paint if you like, and then that might be good enough for you. I'll be adding 2 coats of paint. Here's a quick look at what it looks like after one coat, and I'm going to go ahead now and paint a second coat. So here's my mason jar, 2 coats of paints all ready to go, and what I'm going to use now is a sanding block to distress my jar. And see how these letters pop up? Basically, you take your sanding block and you just start sanding over the top of anything that sticks out. And as you do this, the paint will come off the glass. And you could do as much or as little as you want. It's really up to you. Now, one of the things that I like about the sanding block is when you use a sanding block, it stays flat. So it helps you just really skim the top of anything that's popping up. But if you use sandpaper, sometimes it dips into the grooves. So depending upon what you want for your look, maybe you want more distressing. So some people do more of the sides, some people just do the letters themselves. But ultimately, that's all you got to do. And you can just do as much or as little as you want. So in addition to that, say I scratched some of this here and I really wanted to fix that up. I didn't really want the jar. You can just easily touch that up with a little bit of paint and you'll be all set. So I'll go ahead and continue distressing this, and then we'll move on. Now we're ready to place the lid back on top, or you could leave this on if you want. And then I'm just going to take a piece of twine and tie it around the top. Now you could use ribbon or you could leave it. It's really up to you and kind of the look you're going for. But let's go ahead and talk about what we could use these mason jars for. Now, one question I get asked a lot is, do I need to coat these with anything? Now, once paint cures, it's pretty solid, but if you're going to have it in an environment that has humidity or water, I often recommend using some dishwasher safe Mod Podge, following the directions and putting a few coats of that on to protect your paint job. Now let's talk about some of the things you can use these for. So you can use them in your office for office supplies. You can also use them for kids supplies, maybe markers, pencils, and put them on a Lazy Susan. You can use them for utensils in your kitchen. You can use them for luminaries, but let me show you what I'm going to be using mine for. One of the things I love to do is get these soap dispensers, and I have them everywhere in my home, and you can find a link to these in the comments or on the blog. And all you do is screw the lid on and you've got yourself a soap dispenser, but you can use these also for dishwashing soap. You can use it for a lot of other supplies, hand sanitizer, and other things in your home. We'll be using these in our bathroom to hold my makeup brushes, soap, some fresh flowers, herbs, toothbrushes, and cotton balls. I hope this inspires you to make some painted and distressed mason jars of your own. I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel and my blog at chascrazycreations.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.